Hello again and welcome to the channel Amanda Gets Growing. Now today I want to talk about a list called the Dirty Dozen. And no, before you say anything, that's not the last 12 guys that I match with on Tinder. Although it does kind of feel like that. No, the Dirty Dozen is a very interesting list for us home growers because basically there's an organisation that collects fruit and vegetables that are on sale in the US and then tests them for pesticide residues. And from that, they work out which ones have the worst or the highest amounts of pesticides left in them. And it's a very interesting list. Now, on there are things that we could never grow in a UK garden, like peaches, nectarines. I don't see that happening. But the top three are all things that we can grow. And by the way, I am growing actually here in my garden. So I want to talk about them because I do think it's really important for us to try and limit the amount of pesticides that we eat. Okay, so number 3 on the list, right behind me. This here is kale. Yes, so kale, that so-called superfood that's so good for you. If you buy the non-organic version in supermarkets, it has got so much pesticides on it. So I highly recommend growing kale at home. Now, I'm growing this perennial kale here. I really love to grow perennial kale in particular because it's very low maintenance and I find that it's much less impacted by things like pests. It does still get the cabbage white a bit in the summer, but if it can make it through the summer, as this plant has here, you can see that it's looking really healthy now, and I've got some really lovely leaves to eat this autumn and winter. Now, number 2 on this list is pretty much everybody's favourite summer berry, I'm sorry to say. And in a way, it's probably the worst on the list because it has this lovely soft skin, which means that the pesticides actually penetrate the skin. So there's no amount of washing that's actually going to remove all of the residue. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about strawberries. Strawberries, you know what, they're super easy to grow. They're actually native to the UK. They grow in UK woodlands. So they're one of the easiest fruits that you can grow in your garden. They tend to spread a lot, as you know, if you've ever grown strawberries. So they are such a tough, hardy plant. And if you like eating strawberries, you absolutely should be growing them. The only challenge I really have with strawberries is that I find that blackbirds also really love to eat them. So I'm always kind of in a race between me and the blackbirds to get there first. But yeah, totally recommend growing them. So what then is number 1 on this list? I feel a bit like a DJ, but no one wants to top this chart. Anyway, we're back to the leafy greens, I'm afraid. So we're back to all of those things that we think are so good for us when we buy them in the supermarket. So yeah, number 1 is actually spinach. Spinach is so good for you. But yeah, if you can, grow it at home so you can avoid all of those pesticides. So I like to grow perpetual spinach because it's much hardier and it will see me through the winter. You can also grow something called chard, which isn't a type of spinach, but basically it tastes exactly like spinach really. And again, that's a really tough plant. It lives for a very long time and you just pick the leaves as and when you want them. So I hope that's given you some ideas about what you can grow at home that might actually help reduce the amount of pesticides that you're eating. And it just goes to show that, you don't need to be somewhere exotic to be able to do that. So those then are the top 3, in inverted commas, of the Dirty Dozen. I hope you found that helpful and you can see that actually these are all things that you could be growing in an average garden. And if they are things that you like to eat and you're not growing them, maybe have a think about that. If you're interested in finding out more about this list, I will put a link in the description so you can check out what is on the Dirty Dozen and also what's lower down on the list, because they also have a list of the least impacted fruit and veg that you can buy. And it's super helpful, I think, when you're deciding what to buy in the supermarkets and whether or not to buy organic, because we all know how expensive organic foods can be. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please drop me a note in the comments section. Like it if you found it interesting, and of course, you could always go rogue and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.